19, I had a good friend in the UK called Billy. Billy was, unlike me, very cautious. And so one day when I suggested to him that we go on a backpacking trip to Turkey, I was surprised when he said yes. But he did. And 3 weeks later found us both in Ankara, staying with some people that were some friends who taught English as a second language. And while we were there, they suggested that we go to a Turkish bath. Now, I thought that a Turkish bath was something like a small sauna with holes for the arms, a place for the head. You sweat for half an hour, come out, have a nice shower, and you feel wonderful. Was I mistaken? On the day in question, we walked up the front steps of a large, old Victorian building in Ankara, the capital of Turkey, paid £1 for our towel, and proceeded to the main salon, which was protected by a large rubber door with a tiny plexiglass window. As we looked through the window before entering, the scene that greeted us was like something from Dante's Inferno. A large room filled with thick white steam. And walking in and out of the steam, like so many disembodied ghosts, were hundreds of large, hairy, naked Turkish men. And around the corners of the room were scores of granite beds. On each of the bed lay another large, ugly, hairy Turkish man, being violently beaten by another large, hairy Turkish man. Trust me, my friends, this was not massage, because you could hear the groans coming between the cracks in the door. Billy panicked. He ran back to the receptionist. I want my money back. No, she said, we don't do that. But we are very conscious of Western sensitivity. We'll give you Omar. We have a special massage. It's called Omar the Compassionate. Billy was happy. 10 minutes later, found Billy and I lying on our own respective granite beds, with no clothes on, just a small towel, being covered in a strange sort of oil, which was being squirted onto us from something that looked like a large gasoline pump. Every now and then I'd look over to Billy to make sure he was okay. And he would do something like this. I'm getting Omar. And then suddenly, his look changed from contentment to concern to fear to abject terror. Something like this. I'm getting Omar. Holy cow. Because into the room walked Omar the Compassionate. Now Omar wasn't just fat, wasn't just obese. Omar was grotesque. 600 pounds of quivering, Turkish fat. Omar was ugly. Reptilian eyes, thick lips which protruded on top of each other. He didn't have a neck. His head grew out of these thick, massive shoulders, so that when he turned, he didn't do this like we do it, you do this. At that moment, Omar's eyes met Billy. Billy's eyes met Omar. And with a grunt of animal-like fear, Billy jumped from the table, ran the entire length of the room, tripping over the other guests, slipping on the soap, pushing people out of the way in an animal-like frenzy. And he disappeared. Now Omar was angry. Because you see, he'd lost a Western customer who paid big tips. And his eyes landed on me. He wobbled over like a great fat slug. Put a great big hand on my shoulder. He said, "Are you a friend of that one? Huh? Trust me, Jesus never was betrayed by Judas with the enthusiasm with which I betrayed my friend." Me, a friend of that wuss? No, he's useless. And I flung his hand off and I ran out of the room. I changed. I couldn't find Billy. I left the building, and there on the front steps was Billy, weeping, naked, covered with soap, being laughed at by half a dozen local Turkish kids. We continued our vacation. It was fun. And after a few years, Billy got married and moved up to the north of England. I got married and I moved to Canada. Every 7 years or so, I go across to England. And I go up north to visit Billy. And we have a beer. We go to the pub. He's a grandfather now of several beautiful little grandchildren. We sit in the pub and we have a beer. But our friendship is never the same. Because over there in the corner of the pub, hiding behind the curtains, waiting patiently to give his massage, is the ghost of Omar.